So what do y'all think? I mean, I had never heard of anything called a rake. A rake. They're also saying, oh no, they're skinwalkers that actually ended up mutating humans' genes. And humans turned like animalistic, like they're on rabies type of thing. And if you notice, they became very thin, very, very pale, and their features look elongated. Our human ancestors were explorers, they were hunters and gatherers. You don't think some of them didn't accidentally get stuck in cave systems? Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. A lot of you, again, you love when I get into supernatural things, conspiracy theories. We've talked about the reptilians, different aliens. Some of you say they're demons. And now I want to talk about something that actually happened in North Carolina. This guy called 911. Okay, I'm going to play the recording. He said that there was something on his truck and that it was heavy and that it was not human. Okay, so I actually found out about a species or something that I had never heard about called a rake. I have never heard about this before. There are a lot of myths and tales from, the Appalachian mountain type of area type of thing, but all over missing 411 national parks and things like that. So, okay, let's see. Okay, this is what it looked like, what he said. Tall, skinny, very pale, big eyes, elongated faces and stuff. And I have heard about that when people talk about demons and stuff, some of them, and in the films at least, their mouths will stretch really big. But this is something he saw. Okay, so let's get into it. What is going on in a part of North Carolina? What did he see on the back of his pickup truck? Okay, this is the 911 audio and everything. Let's see.
What seemed like just another 911 call ended up becoming one of the most disturbing cases in North Carolina.
County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
What the?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road. It's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am. I just turned on my bed lights for my truck, and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
The man we hear on this recording was identified simply as T. On the night of July 31st, 2021, he was driving on Highway 210 near Black River. At first, he thought he saw an injured man on the side of the road, but in a matter of seconds, everything changed.
Which I'm pretty sure you heard me yell, what the hell? I turned on my my bed light, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and all I saw was this white, like snow white face right up against my rear windshield. Like it was looking into my truck, trying to see what it could see. It had shallow, sunken eyes. It had no nose. Just think if you took skin and put it on a human skull and stretched it thin. Couldn't see any ears, just that. And immediately, I just started screaming.
The call triggered an immediate response. State patrols, emergency services, and wildlife officers rushed to the scene. They searched with flashlights and even drones, but found no one. All that remained were visible marks and scratches on the young man's truck.
Okay, so something that is interesting. Okay, now it says 2021. I thought this was actually this year because people were talking about it all over TikTok. So I thought that it was more recent, but it still doesn't matter because if this exists, it's still out there. And one thing I noticed on that 911 call is that you heard the thump. You could literally hear it. It felt heavy. I could feel it through the screen, and that scream definitely sounded very, very real when him saying, "It's not human, it's not human." So do I think something like this can exist out here in this world? Yes, I do, because there have been reports of a lot of weird things being seen in the mountain areas, in the forest. Okay, so I actually thought of the Mothman. You remember the Mothman, that movie called The Mothman Prophecies? I saw that film, and it was a very wonderful film based on true events. And they said that in the woods, and I believe this is around that same area. I know I might say this wrong, the Appalachian area where the Mothman is, big red eyes, can tell the future type of thing, at least in that film, and has wings and everything, very tall. So basically, I believe that there are a lot of unexplainable things that live in our dimension, as well as possibly a different dimension. Or look, like I said before, we have cats, we have lizards, we have horses. We're all different species living in the same, on the same planet. So I have no reason to believe or not believe that things like this cannot exist in our world, things we haven't seen. We haven't even explored majority of the ocean, or so they claim, let alone all of the national parks, the forests. We don't know all what's out there. So let's get into it a little bit more. Also, I want to address something. Some of you have been coming on my videos with these attitudes like, how do I word this correctly? Look, I'm not saying that everything is 100% truth when I present these videos. These are things that I am talking about that other people say that they have seen or experienced, and we are gathering here to talk about it. I don't know if some of these things are true or not true, and I'm not saying that it's 100% truth. Just because I give my opinions if they are possibly true. Maybe I've seen something or experienced something, but I don't know 100%. Also, if you have a problem that I have a Cash App up here, that's not my problem. I have people who like to donate to me to support my channel. So if that bothers you, you need to get off this video because I don't understand what you're pissed about. This is my video. You're not a content creator. You don't know that a lot of content creators don't even get monetized for their work because of all types of copyright issues and all these issues. So if someone wants to support me, they can, and I greatly appreciate it. I don't beg throughout the screen and tell you you must do it. So now that I have addressed that, let's get a little bit more into this topic. Also, before we continue, please like, share, and subscribe. It affects the algorithm. If you subscribe, hit the bell and click all notifications so you know when I'm live and when I am uploading. Okay, so let's look at a video of the man who actually called 911, and let's see what he's saying to someone. He didn't want to show his face. He did not want to show his face, which actually makes people believe him even more that maybe this really did happen. He doesn't want, the men in black coming for him or being harassed and people thinking he's a nut job and everything. Let's see more of what he had to say.
Do y'all remember the audio of the guy that was screaming in North Carolina, "There's something in the bed of my truck, it's not human, it's not human"? Well, someone interviewed him, and I found the interview. I'm going to play some clips for you guys here.
The 911 call a couple of months ago, actually. And it's been a little bit of a challenge to get the sheriff's schedule, my schedule, and finally now we've got your schedule all worked out so that we can talk to you and get you to tell your story. Obviously, we're not going to share your name or your face. Totally understand that. But after talking with you, clearly your voice is the voice that's on that 911 call. So if you would, just start wherever you want to. We want to hear the whole story. Take as much time as you need.
I guess I'll start from the beginning of the trip. I was coming up from Florida to visit my family. At the time, I was going to a trade school down there, and when I was driving up here to where the incident occurred by the battlefield, it was already easily like well into the morning. I wasn't looking at my phone. I just know it was pitch black outside, and it was pitch black. I couldn't see the moon, stars, nothing, just barely the road through my headlights. And I had my window down because the AC wasn't working the best. And as I was coming around, there's a massive right curve right there before you cross the Black River, and then after that, you have the battlefield. So on that massive black curve, as I'm coming around, I had just started the curve, and I was about a third of the way through it, and I look over into the ditch on my right, because I caught a quick glimpse of something, and as I take a further look, it looks like there's I'd say probably a 30-something-year-old man standing in that ditch wearing what looks like an old Civil War uniform, just covered head to toe in blood. And the uniform was torn as well. That threw me off because I didn't expect to see it at like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm calling 911 after I see him to report that, because for all I know, it could have just been a normal guy that was injured and needed emergency help. It looked like what had happened is he hit his head on something,
Okay.
and the blood was just pooling down over his face and torso.
Okay.
And well, as I was calling, everything seemed perfectly normal. Just quick phone call to 911, let them know, hey, there's a guy out here, and try to find somewhere safe to park so that way I can take them to him. Well, as you know from the 911 call, right as soon as I reported that, I already had my window up at that point. All of a sudden, I heard a massive bang on my truck, and my truck bounced down from the rear, like I was pulling a heavy trailer and I hit a pothole.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there going, what the hell was that? Which I'm pretty sure you heard me yell, what the hell? I turned on my bed light, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and all I saw was this white, like snow white face right up against my rear windshield, like it was looking into my truck trying to see what it could see. It had shallow sunken eyes. It had no nose. Just think if you took skin and put it on a human skull and stretched it thin. Couldn't see any ears, just bad. And immediately I just started screaming. I didn't realize until afterwards that I had said that's not human on the call, because it was just the first thing I started screaming, because I was terrified. I didn't have my firearm with me, nothing. All I had was a wood splitting axe. That's all I had. So, and my truck is loud as is, and it picks up speed fairly easily. Well, my truck at the time. It had a gas-powered 6-liter V8 Vortec on it, and it was a proper dual exhaust, hence why I had the window up, because that truck is nice and loud.
Okay.
Well, I'm doing in between like 55, 60 miles an hour when this happens, and I just stomped on the gas for a second. When I looked at the speedometer before I slammed on my brakes, I was doing maybe 80. And I slammed on those brakes with all my might, and I went from like 80 miles an hour down to like 35 in just like a couple of seconds. And all I see is just a super scrawny long body just fly over my truck in a ball rolling. And as I then swerve to the left and get back in the travel lane, and I floor it. And as I'm swerving to the left, I see it stand up, and it is easily taller than that truck.
No way.
I'm 5'10". The truck is about 2 inches taller than I am. And this thing was easily like maybe 7 feet.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I can hear it in his voice that he's telling the truth. You can tell he's still shaken up over this incident. I have tried to find pictures of his truck because he goes on to say that there are scratch marks in the hood of his truck.
I believe it. I believe that he's telling the truth. there are a lot of things that you can't always explain, and there are things out there that not everyone has seen. So this is sort of what it looked like. He said, thin skin stretched out on a human skull, no nose, elongated, very tall and thin. And one thing that stood out to me is when he said before he saw this, he saw a man who was dressed in Civil War. His outfit was like he was in the Civil War. And I couldn't help but think of time travel, different dimensions lapping over. But then again, I mean, you see a guy dressed like that, an old 1800s type of thing, and then all of a sudden you see something like this. I mean, there are no stories you hear of something like this that men from the Civil War era were running into type of thing. But it's just interesting to me. It's interesting that that's what he saw first. And he said that blood was pouring off of his head, that clearly, I mean, it would indicate that he had fought this thing. The guy that he saw probably had fought this thing and was bleeding from his head, and then it came to get him. And I'm wondering what happened to the man who was dressed like he was in the Civil War. I mean, how often do you see something like that? So it's very, very, very interesting. And you know what I couldn't help but think of when I heard about this? Baby, y'all know I'm going to bring it up. The Descent. Remember that film, The Descent, where the women went into a cave system and they saw hundreds and thousands of human bones, and that's what it looked like when they were recording behind her. That's what it looked like. It's very thin. Its features are not all the way human. You find out that it actually is just evolved humans that evolved in the cave and have turned animalistic. But it made me think of that because they would come up to the surface from under the cave system where they would hunt human beings to eat us and everything like that, and animals. And they're not very tall, but they are very skinny, very pale, features distorted and everything like that, because they did evolve differently. But I couldn't help but think of that. But now I found out that it's something called a rake is what they call these things out there, or skinwalkers as well.
I want to talk about rakes. I have no clue what they are, and I've been seeing a lot of videos of rakes coming out, and I want to show some of those videos. But first I want to see what the dictionary says what a rake is. This kind of rake. Right there. What are those things? I've never seen Skinwalker Ranch or any of that stuff, but I've been seeing a lot of these videos. Is this like are these people? Is this all just fake? Alright, here's what the interweb says. It's described as a pale, hairless, humanoid creature with long claws, often depicted as stalking and attacking humans. Has anyone ever had an encounter with this? If I saw something like this coming at me, no, there's no way this can be real.
So basically, I don't know, the music is playing. Hopefully there's no issues with this video, but he's saying that it's a modern creation. I don't really think so. I think that if this exists, it's probably been here for a long time. But what if this evolved humans like in that film, The Descent? You know, human beings who evolved separately. I'll get into that later, but what if they're related in some type of way? Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. So I believe there's all types of stuff in the forest, in the woods, and underground, and all of that. So let's see what they're saying. The folklore from the Appalachian mountain area. What are they saying about this type of stuff?
This is something that I don't want to be real just because of how clear the footage is. Like, I would love this to be faked, to be like edited in somewhere, but in this video you can see a really long, lanky, bald creature crawling on hands and feet across the frame. And I think that this is what's called the rake out there. I have another video about the rake saved, and this thing is creepy. So the next two videos I have are both from the same woman, and like I just said, I have videos talking about the rake, and this woman will go into details about it.
Hey y'all, Myra here. So take a look at this footage. This is coming out of Moorhead, Kentucky.
I know what that is, and it ain't the garden rake. That's called the rake. Shoot on sight. I'm not the type of person to sit there and say kill a creature of any kind, but those you have to kill. They are vicious, because if you don't kill it, it will kill you. Legit. Their fingertips are sharp like razors. They have razor sharp teeth. Their body is like a human. That's why they're called humanoids. But their face is grotesque and fucking ugly. They make nasty, disgusting noises. Oh, yes, I saw one as a kid. The fact that we made it out, we were blessed. I don't think it even saw us, but we saw it. It was looking around in the building that we were in, and it was abandoned. I think it was in the basement or below, because we kept hearing noises but didn't know where it came from. We thought it was an animal, so we just got out of there because I did not have a good feeling. Shoot on sight. Yo, all these people on here asking me, did I ever encounter one, like physically encounter it, and I told them we didn't get attacked. It didn't chase us. It didn't even see us. It was sniffing around for us in the building. We saw it when we got out of the building, because it was literally below us making noises, and we couldn't figure out what it was or where it was coming from. We only went in there because we thought it was a trapped animal. It heard us coming. It lured us in, which they do that. I'm just glad I used the freaking that I have and used my intuition and listened to the voices that were legit telling me to tell everybody we needed to leave. They didn't want to get out as fast. I got out first. When they heard the noises getting closer, they skedaddled clean up out that building. You're the first person I have ever seen, or nice to meet you, I'm Sarah, that's ever actually survived an attack. By a rake!
Okay, so off this woman's TikTok, I also read the comments, and it wasn't just this woman or that commenter who also had experiences with the rake. Apparently, there are other people who have commented saying that they also had an encounter. Some of these people were scratched, some of these people had stitches, and yeah, so that's pretty freaky.
So what do y'all think? I mean, I had never heard of anything called a rake. A rake. They're also saying, oh no, they're skinwalkers type of thing. Now, I have heard of different types of stuff, the humanoid, reptilians, the whole sleepwalker thing, you know, Stephen King, even though that was supposedly a fictional story. But I had never heard of skinwalkers and the rake. But apparently people, that's what they call them. And some people will say, oh no, they're making it up, baby. Some stuff, it does exist. And I'm not going out in the woods. I'm not camping. I'm not, no. Because there's all types of stuff roaming around out there. You know, I had showed in my last video, one of my last videos, how many people are missing. You know, in 2019, it was over 600,000 Americans. And then in 2022, it had went down to about 540 something thousand Americans missing. And I'm not sure what this year is right now. So let's see. Someone said that they caught a rake. It was on camera. You can see what they look like. Okay, let's see.
This picture right here is apparently a found photo of the rake. The date is unknown, but many speculate this is the late 1800s or early 1900s. I believe accounts of the rake go back all the way to the 16 or 1700s, so this would make sense. Here's a closer picture. Let me know what you guys think about this.
Can you imagine seeing something like that? But it looks like something from Resident Evil, Silent Hill. I don't know if some of you have seen that film, Silent Hill, when a woman was actually in West Virginia. I believe it was West Virginia. Why is it always West Virginia? When she drove through and she went into another dimension. It looked like the same area, but it was black and white sort of looking. And there were people who looked like this. And it was an evil girl / demon type of thing where things just had changed. I don't want to ruin the film for you, but that's what it sort of reminds me of. It also kind of reminds me of, look, remember that film I Am Legend with Will Smith? Now, basically, it was humans who they thought they had found the cure for cancer, but it actually ended up mutating humans' genes. And humans turned like animalistic, like they're on rabies type of thing. And if you notice, they became very thin, very, very pale, and their features look elongated. So, it makes me think again about The Descent. With the film The Descent, human beings, and you know why I think The Descent is possible? Our human ancestors were explorers, they were hunters and gatherers. You don't think some of them didn't accidentally get stuck in cave systems? They don't know what things are, and they're roaming around. And what if they got stuck in caves and they couldn't get out? And they started living underground. Eventually you lose your eyesight, or you can see at nighttime, but you can't go out in the sunlight. And you evolve separately from humans on the surface. DNA changes. And just like in this film with I Am Legend, the DNA changed. Okay, that's why people are very nervous and skeptical when it comes to getting vaccines, because they believe that it changes something in the DNA. A lot of kids allegedly are getting autism a lot more because of these vaccines and stuff. Things that can change the DNA, not just from natural evolution, but also messing with things, putting things in the system, putting things in the water, in the food, changing the DNA, the genome type of thing. So I couldn't help but think of that. As a matter of fact, look at The Descent real quick. This is when they're in the cave and they finally, basically it started climbing the wall because they probably have webbed feet and everything. They evolved separately down there. So,
You know which scene freaked me the hell out the first time I saw it? This one, from The Descent, when the cave monster shows up behind her, when they're using the night vision cameras. If you've never seen The Descent, you absolutely need to. The story involves 5 kick-ass women who are struggling to stay alive after discovering an underground cave system. This movie is gory, and the jump scares are worth it. It's also my wife's favorite horror movie.
yeah, it's a very hidden gem. Most people who react to it love it because they didn't really promote it like they should have. This is one of the greats. These last couple of years, like Hereditary, this is one of the greats right here. I wish I would have saw it in movie theaters. It is on Tubi. It's on Tubi for free. Also, they made a part 2. And a lot of people don't even know there's a part 2, baby, with the same characters in it. Okay, and it's on Tubi as well. So you better go to Tubi if you want to see this stuff for free. And this is a film that I highly, highly recommend. I highly recommend it. Okay, so look, that is basically it for this video. Do you believe in skinwalkers? Do you believe in the Rake? It's the same thing. They look humanoid, but they're not human, or if they are human, maybe they evolved separately. But look, they said very pointy, sharp nails, razor blade type of teeth, tall, very thin, very pale, stretched out skin, no nose, big eyes. People would say, look, these are demons. They definitely look demonic, but they're out there in the trees, in the forest type of thing. And, you know, people believe in Bigfoot. So do you believe in this, that this exists? I've actually heard people talk about stick people too. When they recorded the trees, looked like they were walking or moving. There's a lot of unexplainable things here on the planet. We haven't discovered everything, and people are missing again all the time. There have been so many reports of people's livestock and cows being mutilated and things like that. He said that his truck was scratched up. And when you heard the 911 call, you heard the big thump. You could literally hear the weight of it that fell on his truck. And he didn't want to show his face again, but he said this is what he saw. And what stood out again is before he saw it, he saw a man dressed in 1800s sort of Civil War type of an outfit like that, bleeding from his face. So I believe, look, Again, this is a big planet. There's a lot of stuff that you haven't seen. And I don't believe that humans are the only thing here. Okay, I don't believe that at all. So I'm not going to say that this man made this up and that this couldn't have happened. What do you believe in? Have you heard anything like this where you live or in this area in North Carolina? Let us know again. Do you believe the story? Do you think that it was made up? Have you seen anything like this that was a little bit unexplainable? Okay, so again, that is it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have heard or seen anything that we haven't heard about and you want to share, tell us in the comments. Tell us about it in the comments section, and maybe I will look into it. And look, I've seen things that's considered supernatural, as well as people that I know. So I will never say that it's not possible, because I have seen some things that I don't talk about on my channel. Maybe I will in the future. And so that's all. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. If you click the bell, click all notifications again, because that's how you'll know when I'm posting and when I am live. And I might have a live call-in show in the very near future when it comes to these type of topics. I'm thinking about it. So that's it, everybody. You all take care. Bye.